That guys just got cut off on the last video, so just want to pick this up here with the discussion about Christopher Columbus. So Christopher Columbus, like many, believed that the world was round at the time, and thought that he could reach Asia by sailing west. In reality, he reached the Bahamas in the Americas. He thought that he'd reached the islands that are off the coast of India, because remember, if there is not previous understanding and knowledge of North America and South America, then the first land that Columbus thought he arrived upon would have been India, which is why the native peoples were referred to as Indians. So he made 4 trips to quote unquote India, realizing never knowing that he was actually in the Americas. And it's important to also note, we talked about this already a little bit, but even though Columbus does not deserve credit for discovering anything, the subsequent journeys and the trading interactions that resulted from Columbus's journeys were of note and were significant, and we'll talk about that in the coming days. So even though he never found Asia, he still thought he could reach Asia by sailing west. But the first person to actually do this entire global journey around the world, that was circumnavigate, means to go all the way around, was a man named Ferdinand Magellan, and he was the one who followed as a result, or one of the many who followed as a result of Columbus's exploration at the time. During the age of exploration, Spain created colonies in North and South America, as we already discussed. You can see here displayed in the red. These colonies, again, are the land that's controlled by the mother country, and they take resources from these colonies and control these colonies in order to benefit the motherland. Spain, specifically, the way these colonies were established was by sending out people who were known as conquistadors, who were just conquerors, to this quote-unquote new world in order to find that gold, to claim the land, and spread Christianity. So the conquistadors had that same mission of gold, God, and glory. And these are names that should be familiar to you. The first would be Hernan Cortez, who was known for conquering the Aztecs. That's again Moctezuma II, who mistook Cortez for the god and welcomed him in, and ultimately Cortez conquered the Aztecs. Francisco Pizarro similarly was known for conquering and taking over the Inca Empire and establishing Spanish colonies there. Now, one of the results of these colonies, I'm sorry, just read through that. Results on the left-hand side is a great thing to add, is that the amount of wealth that was now flowing from the Americas to Spain. The influx of gold from America made Spain the most powerful country in the world in the early years of Age of Exploration. So there were tangible economic benefits, and many countries followed suit as a result. Specifically, England, France, and the Netherlands became involved in this overseas exploration and colonization and really exploitation in order to get involved in this global economy. You can see some of the routes here from a very cool perspective of the map, actually. The French explorer Samuel de Champlain reached Canada and to search for a northwest passage, so as to go farther north to sail more effectively around the northern latitudes of the Earth to reach Asia. After failing to do so, Champlain founded the French colony of Quebec, and that's one of the reasons why for that reason the people of Quebec to this day still speak French. So you can see here some of the early explorations from the North American perspective. You can see where the English conquered, which of course you should be familiar with for this reason, the United States, and others. The French also just carved out a large territory along the Mississippi River from Canada to New Orleans. You can see the green area here is displayed as the French-controlled regions of North America, and stretching all the way down to the coast into New Orleans. Now, one thing that's different about the colonization that's done by the English is that the English colonies were paid for by the citizens who formed joint stock companies. So these citizens were all coming together these companies were coming together to form these excursions and to form these colonies. So these were economically driven not by the kings and the monarchs, but rather by individual citizens who were setting out to establish economic outposts in companies that they owned. They all had stock and joint stock in these companies. The English colonies were all along the Atlantic coast of North America, and a lot of those was motivated by religion. We talked about that already, about the Puritans not having a place within some of the reformations of the Anglican Church and seeking to purify the faith, which would lead them to the Americas. Alternatively, particularly in the southern colonies, were people seeking wealth and economic opportunity. One of the English explorers, James Cook, was the first European to make contact with Australia, New Zealand, and Hawaii, so another one of the key accomplishments. And the Netherlands, the Dutch, were also colonized using that private companies to fund exploration. They had colonies in the Americas and Africa, but the Dutch East India Company, was really most known for, as you see on this map, for dominating the Indian Ocean and Asian trade. Enormous both economic and political influence. You can see with the English and the Dutch, things got messy because you had companies controlling this colonization as opposed to people, as opposed to monarchs. So in some ways, we had businesses functioning as if they were political leaders, and that became quite confusing and controversial for a long time. So you can see the Age of Exploration greatly includes the expanded knowledge and influence of the world. Here's where the known areas of the world around 500 BCE. You can see this growing by 1000 AD, 1400 AD, that's CE. By 1500, you can see that we now have a global understanding of the world, and that by 1700, we have just the entire interconnected, globalized world that you and I, for the most part, knew. Globalized world that you and I know now. So you can see that, the difference between what happened in 500 BCE, again, just strolling through 1000, 1400, 1700, 1500, by 1700, we just have this absolute global diffusion and interconnected world. And the consequences of this are going to be both positive and negative. There we are. There are your analysis questions. And make sure you complete all 4, including the last one, needing at least 3 total: social, cultural, political, or economic effects. All right. Thanks.